A broad range of weapons performed a crucial role for the Union Army during the American Civil War, helping to shape the direction of battles and military strategy. Ranging from precision rifles and heavy artillery to melee weapons, the war was defined by the use of cutting-edge technologies and traditional weapons, adapted to the needs of a large-scale conflict. Today's video features the most iconic and important weapons of the Union Army during the American Civil War. The Springfield Model 1861 rifle was the primary firearm used by the Union Army during the American Civil War. Manufactured by the Springfield Armory, this .58 caliber percussion rifle was extensively distributed among Union soldiers and was an integral part of the North's military success in the conflict. One of the key features of the Springfield Model 1861 was its accuracy at distances of up to 500 meters, surpassing the older breech-loading muskets common at the time. This was particularly useful in long-distance battles, where the Union's fire superiority played a decisive role. The rifle used mini-ammo, which allowed for faster and more efficient reloading, even under pressure. While it was slower to reload when compared to the repeating rifles introduced later, such as the Spencer, the Springfield Model 1861 excelled for its reliability and simplicity, making it ideal for mass production and the quick training of soldiers. Nearly 1 million units were manufactured throughout the war, making it the most common rifle among Union troops. Its endurance and effectiveness made it a landmark of the North's industrial military power and an essential factor in the Union's victory in the Civil War. The Colt Navy Model 1851 revolver was among the most iconic and widely used weapons during the American Civil War, both by the Union Army and the Confederates. First developed by Samuel Colt, this .36 caliber percussion revolver was originally designed for naval use, hence its name, but soon became a popular weapon among infantry soldiers, officers, and especially cavalry. One of the Colt Navy's most outstanding features was its balance and handling. At around 1.2 kilograms, it was lighter than most contemporary revolvers, making it easy to use in combat. With a 6-shot magazine capacity, it was filled with black powder and fired spherical or conical lead bullets, providing good accuracy and stopping power at short to medium distances. While the Colt Navy was less powerful than the .44 caliber Colt Army Model 1860, it was favored by many for its accuracy and less recoil. It was particularly valued by cavalrymen and officers, who prized its reliability in intense combat situations. Its ability to fire several rounds before recharging was a significant advantage in hand-to-hand confrontations or rapid skirmishes. Its elegant design, with a cylinder embossed with a naval combat scene, made it not only an effective combat tool, but also a status symbol for many soldiers. More than 200,000 Colt Navy units were made during the Civil War, making it one of the most popular revolvers of the time. The Model 1860 Cavalry Saber was one of the most symbolic and extensively used weapons by the cavalry forces of the Union Army during the American Civil War. Renowned for its simple and efficient design, the saber was introduced to replace the heavier Model 1840, also known as the Old Wrist Breaker, that was harder to handle in combat. The Model 1860 Cavalry Saber featured a curved steel blade, measuring approximately 86 centimeters in length. Its lighter, more balanced design was ideal for mounted combat, where the rider's mobility and agility were paramount. It was used for cutting and thrusting, making it a highly versatile weapon in hand-to-hand combat. While the development of firearms, such as rifles and revolvers, lessened the importance of cavalry as the main fighting force, the saber still played a significant role, particularly in quick attacks, ambushes, and during chases against retreating enemy troops. It was most often used in light cavalry actions, where hand-to-hand combat still occurred frequently. The saber was often teamed with other cavalry weapons, such as the Colt Navy revolver, allowing soldiers to switch between firearms and blades depending on the situation. The durability, simplicity, and effectiveness of the Model 1860 Cavalry Saber made it a dependable weapon throughout the war, and it became one of the symbols of the Union mounted soldier. The Spencer rifle was one of the most significant technological breakthroughs used by the Union Army during the American Civil War. First developed by Christopher Spencer in 1860, the rifle was noted for being one of the first successful repeating rifles, proving a significant tactical advantage on the battlefield. The Spencer featured a lever-operated repeating mechanism, with a tubular magazine attached to the butt of the weapon, which held 7 .52 caliber metal cartridges. This allowed soldiers to fire several rounds in quick succession before having to reload, an innovation in an era where most breech-loading rifles only admitted a single shot before a slow reloading process. The soldier could fire all 7 shots in about 10 to 20 seconds, an impressive feat that vastly increased the firing rate. This rifle was renowned for its endurance, serviceability, and precision in combat. It was extensively used by Union cavalry units, such as Wilder's Brigade, which used the Spencer rifle to significant effect in battles such as Chickamauga. The ability to quickly and continuously fire meant that the Spencer rifle was described as a weapon that changed the game on the battlefield. Although a revolutionary innovation, the high production cost and the conservatism of some Union officers restricted the rifle's initial distribution. As the war progressed, however, more soldiers were equipped with the Spencer, cementing its reputation as one of the most innovative and effective weapons of the Civil War. The technological advantage provided by the Spencer rifle played a vital role in the Union's final victory. The Ketchum hand grenades were one of the first battlefield attempts to use handheld explosives during the American Civil War. First invented by William F. Ketchum and patented in 1861, these grenades were used primarily by Union forces in sieges and trench battles, offering a new aspect of close-range attack. The design of the Ketchum grenades was simple but clever for the time. They were shaped like a small cylinder, with a stabilizing wood tail and fins, resembling a javelin, which allowed them to be thrown more accurately. The grenade was hand-thrown, and when it hit the target with the front part, an impact mechanism would activate the detonator, triggering the explosion. The grenades came in many sizes, with weights ranging from 1 to 3 kilos. While innovative, the Ketchum grenades had several limitations. The need for them to hit the target with the right tip to detonate made their use unpredictable. If they fell on their side or back, they would not explode, making them ineffective in many cases. Also, in some situations, Confederate soldiers succeeded in picking up the non-exploded grenades and throwing them back into the Union lines. Notwithstanding these flaws, the Ketchum hand grenades marked a significant advance in portable explosives and inspired future developments in military weaponry. They were used in various battles, such as the Siege of Vicksburg, but due to their limitations, they never became a largely reliable or decisive weapon. The Napoleon field gun, otherwise known as the Napoleon 12-pounder, was one of the most extensively used and powerful artillery pieces during the North American Civil War by both the Union and the Confederacy. Its name pays homage to the French Emperor Napoleon III, since the original gun design was conceived in France. The American version was tailored by the Springfield Armory and other foundries, making it a standard weapon in the battles of the war. The Napoleon gun had a caliber of 12 pounds, approximately 5.4 kilograms, shooting explosive and solid bullet shells with great precision and power. Its bronze construction, with a smooth barrel, made it more resistant to corrosion and less prone to becoming overheated during continuous firing. It could fire at distances of up to 1,500 meters, which made it incredibly useful in different combat situations, such as shelling enemy positions or attacking troops in the open. The Napoleon 12-pounder won a reputation for its flexibility and effectiveness. It could fire solid projectiles, used against forming troops and to bring down fortifications, as well as shrapnel and canister rounds, particularly deadly at close range, making the cannon a devastating weapon in infantry attacks. The simplicity of the design and ease of operation meant that the Napoleon cannon was one of the most reliable weapons in field artillery. It played a crucial role in several important battles, such as the Battle of Gettysburg, where its precision and firepower helped neutralize the breakthroughs of enemy troops. Combining power, precision, and reliability made the Napoleon gun a staple on the battlefield, symbolizing the heavy artillery of the time. The Berdan Sharpshooters rifle was the primary weapon of the elite unit of Union sharpshooters, known as Berdan Sharpshooters, during the American Civil War. The unit was established in 1861 under the command of Hiram Berdan, a renowned inventor and marksman, and became famous for its long-range shooting abilities and pinpoint operations. The rifle first used by the unit's riflemen was the Sharps Model 1859, a rear-loading rifle produced by the Sharps Rifle Manufacturing Company. This weapon was particularly successful due to its rear-loading mechanism, allowing for a faster firing rate than the typical front-loading rifles of the time. At a range of up to 900 meters, the Sharps was exceptionally accurate, making it ideal for snipers targeting enemy officers, artillery, and other long-range threats. Bird and sharpshooters were submitted to a strict selection process, where each soldier had to display exceptional accuracy. With its ease of reloading and high accuracy, the Sharps rifle made it possible for these sharpshooters to play decisive roles in important battles, such as Gettysburg, Antietam, and Chancellorsville. They often maneuvered on the front lines, camouflaged on high ground, from where they could fire fatal shots at strategic enemy targets. Besides their high-precision missions, Burden's marksmen were also deployed on reconnaissance and scouting missions, where accuracy and reliability in their weapons were key to success. The Sharps rifle contributed to consolidating the reputation of Burden sharpshooters as one of the first sniper units in military history, and was an innovative example of how precision shooting could influence a war. The Parrot rifle was one of the most groundbreaking and widely used pieces of artillery during the American Civil War. Conceived by Robert Parker Parrot, a former U.S. Army officer and engineer, the Parrot cannon changed the use of artillery with its advanced design, which combined strength, precision, and range. First introduced in the 1860s, the Parrot rifle was used by both the Union and the Confederates, and was highly effective in field battles and fort attacks. The Parrot rifle was built from cast iron, with an innovative feature. The barrel had a cast iron reinforcement in the breech, preventing splitting and explosions, a common issue with iron cannons of the time. The cannon had rifling, grooving inside the barrel, giving the projectiles fired a spin, providing greater precision and range. The Parrot rifle, depending on the model, could fire 10, 20, or 30-pound shells at up to 3,700 meters, an impressive feat for the time. The Parrot's accuracy meant it was perfect for long-distance shelling, especially in siege battles such as the Siege of Vicksburg and the Siege of Petersburg. It also had a fundamental role to play in the shelling of fortifications, such as Fort Sumter, where its precision allowed it to effectively attack strategic targets. The Parrot rifle was not perfect, however. While it was more accurate and had greater range than other cannons, its cast iron construction made it prone to damage under intense use, and some cannons blew up after prolonged periods of continuous firing. Nevertheless, its combination of accuracy and firepower made the Parrot rifle a crucial weapon in the artillery armory during the Civil War, playing a significant role in Union victories. The bayonet employed by the Union Army during the American Civil War was a vital hand-to-hand combat tool, widely fitted to infantry rifles, especially the Springfield Model 1861 rifle. The standard bayonet used by the Union soldiers was a triangular-bladed bayonet, fitted to the rifle barrel, turning the firearm into an improvised spear for close-quarters combat. The bayonet had an average length of 43 centimeters, with a long, sharp blade aimed at piercing the enemy's body. Its triangular shape made it harder to treat wounds, and it was therefore a feared weapon in hand-to-hand battles. The simplicity of its fitting on the rifle barrel made the bayonet user-friendly, letting soldiers quickly switch between shooting and hand-to-hand combat as the situation on the battlefield demanded. While the focus of battles in the Civil War was the use of firearms, the bayonet was extensively used in infantry charges and situations where fighting became too close for the successful use of rifles. A striking example was the Battle of Gettysburg, where infantry units such as the 20th Maine Regiment, led by Joshua Lawrence Chamberlain, made a decisive bayonet charge at Little Round Top to repel a Confederate attack. Besides its fighting purpose, the bayonet was also a versatile tool for soldiers and was often employed for small everyday tasks, such as cooking or chopping wood. Despite its simplicity, the bayonet was a crucial piece of a Union soldier's equipment, especially when combat became hand-to-hand in the trenches or on the front line. Throughout the American Civil War, the Confederate Army encountered significant challenges in resources and arms production, leading to a reliance on both imported weapons and local innovations to equip their troops. Notwithstanding these limitations, the Confederates managed to use a number of efficient and innovative weapons that played crucial roles in the battles. Today's video will tell us a bit more about the Confederate Army's most important weapons. The Enfield Pattern 1853 rifle was one of the most widespread weapons used by the Confederate Army during the North American Civil War. An import from the United Kingdom, the Enfield P-1853 was a .577 caliber percussion rifle and was the second most popular firearm of the conflict, behind only the Springfield Model 1861, widely used by the Union. Because of the South's limited industrial power to build its own weapons, the Confederates depended heavily on imports of rifles like the Enfield. One of the Enfield rifle's major advantages was its long-range accuracy, efficiently hitting targets at more than 500 meters. Its ammo, known as the mini bullet, allowed for relatively quick reloading and added more penetrating power to the shots. These properties made the Enfield an excellent choice for sharpshooters and Confederate infantry in open firefights. The rifle was barrel-loaded, with gunpowder and a mini bullet, using a percussor to fire, which was the norm for firearms at the time. The Enfield Pattern 1853 was extensively used in important engagements, such as the Battle of Gettysburg and the Battle of Antietam, where its accuracy and range helped to balance the numerical handicap that the Confederate Army often encountered. While it was an imported weapon and not mass-produced in the South, the Enfield Pattern 1853 rifle performed a vital role in the Confederate arsenal, playing a role in addressing the shortage of weaponry and providing Southern troops with a reliable and effective combat tool. The Lamont revolver was a particularly unique and groundbreaking weapon used mostly by the Confederate Army during the American Civil War. Conceived by Dr. Jean-Alexandre Lamont, a physician and inventor of French origin, the Lamont revolver was different from any other weapon of the time, owing to its versatile double-barrel design. It featured a main revolver barrel, able to fire up to 9 .42 caliber shots, and a second shorter central barrel below the main barrel, which worked like a small .20 caliber rifle, charged with lead cartridges. This made the Lamont a highly lethal weapon in close-range combat. While it was heavy and difficult to handle compared to other revolvers, the Lamont provided a clear advantage for cavalry officers and soldiers, who were in need of a weapon that could be used as both a revolver and a rifle for close-quarters confrontations. The rifle barrel's extra firepower was especially useful in ambush situations or close-range battles, where soldiers could rapidly switch between the two barrels. The famous Confederate cavalry leader General J.E.B. Stuart was one of the most prominent users of the Lamont revolver, helping to spread the weapon's popularity among Confederate forces. While production of the Lamont was constrained due to the difficulty of manufacture and the scarcity of resources in the South, it became a symbol of innovation and ingenuity in the Confederate armory. Combining power, versatility, and a distinctive design, the Lamont revolver was one of the most impressive weapons of the Civil War, affording Confederate soldiers a tactical advantage in close-range battles, even with its limited production and challenging handling. The Richmond carbine was one of the most impressive firearms made by the Confederate Army during the American Civil War. First conceived in Richmond, Virginia, at the Confederate arsenal that had been built there after the 1861 capture of the Harper's Ferry Armory, the carbine was inspired by the design of the Union Model 1855 Springfield rifle, whose parts and tools were salvaged and reused by the Confederates to compensate for their shortage of armaments. The Richmond carbine was mainly used by Confederate cavalry and light infantry troops, serving as a shorter weapon and hence more suitable for use on the move. It was a .58 caliber anti-personnel percussion weapon, making it compatible with the standard mini ammunition used in other firearms of the time. Its stripped-down construction, loosely based on the Springfield Model 1855, was tailored to meet the Confederates' desperate demand for armaments, given the scarcity of resources and limited industrial capacity in the South. While the Richmond carbine was less refined and of lower production grade compared to Union rifles, such as the Springfield Model 1861, it did play a key role in providing Confederate forces with an efficient firearm available in decent quantities. The carbine was used in several crucial engagements, including the Battle of Gettysburg and the Battle of the Wilderness, where the often outnumbered Confederate troops needed reliable weapons to match their strength. The Richmond carbine, despite production challenges and a lack of resources, stood out as an important symbol of the South's ability to improvise and manufacture effective weaponry, playing a key role in the Confederate war effort. It epitomized the resilience of the Confederates, who, despite limited resources, managed to arm their troops with a functional and efficient weapon. The Confederate cavalry saber was a weapon extensively used by the cavalry forces of the Confederate Army during the North American Civil War. Drawing inspiration from European cavalry sabers and the Model 1860 saber used by the Union Army, the Confederate saber was a close combat weapon, ideal for quick attacks and skirmishes in which cavalry played a key role. The standard Confederate saber had one curved blade, usually measuring between 86 and 91 centimeters, made of plain steel, and a handle wrapped in leather or metal, intended to be robust and functional. The bent blade made it easy to use in slashing movements during mounted cavalry, while its length provided enough reach to hit the enemy without getting dangerously close. While the saber was an important weapon, the South's restricted industrial capacity meant that many Confederate sabers were of lower quality than those made in the North. Southern forges often had to improvise with available supplies, resulting in less durable blades with a rougher workmanship that often bent or broke during long-term use. This did not, however, diminish their battlefield importance. Led by iconic figures such as General J.E.B. Stuart, the Confederate cavalry used the saber in fast charge, flanking, and reconnaissance tactics. Combining sabers with firearms, such as the Lamont revolver, allowed Confederate cavalrymen to be versatile in combat, alternating between ranged and melee attacks. Despite its variable quality, the Confederate cavalry saber stood as a symbol of the bravery and feisty spirit of the Southern cavalry. The Witworth rifle was one of the most sophisticated and accurate long-range weapons used during the American Civil War by the Confederate troops. Devised by British engineer Sir Joseph Witworth in 1857, the rifle changed the concept of accuracy in ranged combat and was widely used by Confederate sharpshooters to hit strategic battlefield targets. The Witworth rifle's distinctive feature was its hexagonal rifled barrel design and matching projectile, providing superior flight stability. This innovation meant that the rifle was effective at much greater distances than the standard rifles of the time. While standard rifles, such as the Enfield Pattern 1853, could reach an effective range of up to 500 meters, the Witworth was able to hit targets with precision at distances of up to 1,800 meters. Its precision firing capability made it an ideal choice for Confederate snipers, who often used the rifle to target Union officers and artillerymen in critical battles. While an expensive and rare weapon due to its importation from Britain, the Witworth rifle did play a significant role in many battles where Confederate snipers equipped with the Witworth succeeded in inflicting significant casualties on Union ranks. A well-known example of the rifle's impact was its possible use to kill Union General John Sedgwick at the Battle of Spotsylvania from a remarkable distance. Notwithstanding its rarity and inflated cost, the Witworth rifle was one of the first modern sniper weapons, illustrating the growing importance of accurate shooting in armed conflicts. Its influence stretched far beyond the Civil War, becoming a landmark in long-range weapons development.
The vast and wild frontier of the Old West was fraught with dangers and challenges. Being properly armed was essential. It was a time of gunslingers, sheriffs, and outlaws, where order was often dictated by lead and gunpowder. In this video, we'll take a closer look at the most iconic weapons that shaped this legendary period. The Colt Single-Action Army, also known as the Colt Peacemaker, was one of the most iconic guns of the American Old West. Developed in 1873, this single-action revolver became a favorite of many gunfighters, lawmen, and settlers living on the border. The Colt Peacemaker fired the powerful .45 Colt cartridge with a 6-shot drum loaded and unloaded individually. This revolver was known for being reliable, sturdy, and accurate, with a simple and robust mechanism that seldom failed. But the Colt Peacemaker had limitations. The gun had a rudimentary mechanism, and the owner had to cock the hammer manually before each shot. This limited the firing speed compared to the double-action guns that would emerge later. The Colt Peacemaker marked the history of the American West. Legendary characters like Wyatt Earp and Buffalo Bill used it, and it became the gun most associated with the Old West era, with a lasting place in American mythology. The Spencer Model 1860 carbine, less well known than some of its contemporary guns, played a significant role in Old West history. It was one of the first mass-produced repeating firearms, giving users a higher rate of fire than most other guns of the time. The Spencer fired a .56 cartridge, which was loaded into a tube positioned in the butt. This allowed for faster reloading and greater ammunition capacity compared to the predominant single-shot rifles of the time. The relatively low power of the .56 cartridges meant that the Spencer was less effective at long ranges than other rifles of that day. The mechanical complexity of the Spencer rifle, although advanced during this period, could make it prone to failure if not properly maintained. Despite these drawbacks, the 1860 Spencer carbine was used in the American Civil War and Old West era, earning it a place in American firearms history. The Gatling machine gun, developed by Dr. Richard J. Gatling during the American Civil War, was a milestone in firearms design, having a prominent place in Old West history. It was also one of the first successful rapid-fire firearms, using a system of multiple rotating barrels to fire shells quickly and continuously. The Gatling fired different calibers depending on the model and could fire hundreds of rounds per minute, an unprecedented rate of fire. It was large, heavy, and relied on a crew of operators to function effectively. While the rate of fire was impressive, the weapon was prone to overheating, and reliability could be an issue with extended use. Still, the Gatling gun was a significant leap in firearms technology and changed armed combat. Although it is most associated with the American Civil War, the Gatling also played a role in the Old West, used by both the U.S. Army and various law enforcement agencies. The Gatling gun remains one of the most iconic weapons of this era. The Springfield Model 1873, also known as the Trapdoor Springfield, was an iconic weapon of the Old West, adopted as the primary U.S. infantry weapon. The rifle became known by the nickname Trapdoor due to the single-action reloading mechanism that resembled a trapdoor. However, this trapdoor mechanism could be fragile and damaged if not handled carefully. The Springfield 1873 fired a .45 government cartridge known for power and accuracy. The rifle was usually fitted with a bayonet, allowing it to be used in close-quarters combat. The Springfield 1873 is remembered for being loyal to the U.S. Army service. It was used in several campaigns during the Old West, including the Indian Wars, and was often associated with historical figures such as George Custer. The sturdiness, reliability, and power made it a valuable tool for American soldiers on the frontier. The Bowie knife is one of the most iconic weapons of the Old West. It is named after Jim Bowie, a Texas hero famous for his role in the Battle of the Alamo. The Bowie was known for its portly size and distinctive design. The Bowie features a large blade, typically 12 to 30 centimeters long, in addition to a straight back and curved edge. The blade is usually very sharp, and the tip faces forward, making it ideal for slashing or stabbing. The knife typically has a cross-shaped guard between the blade and the handle, protecting the user's hand during movements. But the blade's size and weight can make it difficult to handle for inexperienced people. Despite this, the Bowie knife has become an icon on the American frontier. The versatile design has made it a valuable tool for hunting, camping, and protection. The Bowie became one of the most recognizable weapons of the Old West. The Henry Model 1860 rifle was one of the first successful repeating guns, ushering in a new era in personal gun competition. The high rate of fire and 16-round cartridge capacity made it a terrific weapon in the Old West. The Henry fired the relatively light 44 Henry rimfire cartridge, allowing the user to carry many rounds without significant additional weight. This made the Henry an excellent choice for personal defense and combat use. The Henry 1860 had a lasting impact on firearms history. The high rate of fire and shooting capacity were revolutionary at the time and set the standard for future repeating guns, including the famous Winchester 1873. Many settlers, lawmen, and outlaws used the Henry for protection and combat. The Smith & Wesson Model 3, .44 caliber single-action revolver was another iconic Old West weapon. Introduced in 1869, the Model 3 was one of the first revolvers to use metallic cartridges, an innovation with significant benefits in reloading speed and reliability. One of the Model 3's most notable features was its hinge frame design, allowing the revolver to open for quick and easy loading and unloading. It was a major advantage over many other single-action revolvers of the time. Despite the advantages, the Smith & Wesson Model 3 had weaknesses. The hinge action made reloading fast, but also a possible cause of mechanical failure. And the revolver was more expensive than many contemporaries. But the Model 3's accuracy, firepower, and ease of reloading made it popular with many notable Old West characters. Although it has been replaced by more modern designs, the Smith & Wesson Model 3 is one of the most influential guns of the Old West. The Sharps Model 1874 is one of the best-known Old West rifles given its remarkable accuracy and effective long range. This single-shot rifle became the weapon of choice for many bison hunters and long-range shooters. The Sharps 1874 fired multiple heavy cartridges, including the impactful 50 Sharps. The falling block mechanism made loading and unloading the gun simpler. Also, the sturdy build quality ensured its reliability in harsh conditions. An optical sight was also used on the rifle, further increasing efficiency in long-range shooting. But the weapon was large and heavy, hardly suitable for close combat situations or assault attacks. The Sharps 1874 became legendary for taking down targets at long ranges. It played a key role in hunting bison on the American border. Exceptional accuracy made it a popular weapon in target shooting competitions. The Model 1 Derringer, produced by Philadelphia Derringer, was an iconic gun in the Old West. The small stature and double-barrel design made it an ideal choice for concealment and use in close-quarters combat. The Derringer fired a .41 cartridge. While it was not known for power or range, it made up for it by being discreet. Lightweight and compact, the Derringer could be easily concealed in a pocket or bag, making it popular with card players and others who wish to hide a weapon. With only 2 shots available before reloading, and limited accuracy due to the small size, it was clearly a last resort weapon. It also had a noticeable recoil for its size, which could make it difficult to control. Despite this, the Derringer made its mark on the Old West. The ease of concealment made it a popular choice for many, and it remains one of the most iconic weapons associated with the cowboy era. Thinking of the Old West is almost impossible without remembering the double-barrel shotgun. This weapon, with 2 side-by-side barrels firing shotgun shells, was highly regarded for its power and reliability. The gun could fire 1 or both barrels at once, depending on the model and trigger configuration. The typical shotgun cartridge contained multiple rounds, making this gun an effective weapon in short-range combat or against multiple targets. But the firing capacity was limited to 1 shot per barrel. While the shotgun was powerful at close range, its effectiveness dropped significantly as distance from the target increased. Despite these drawbacks, the double-barreled shotgun became an iconic Old West weapon. Whether defending a home against potential intruders, protecting against a group of bandits, or in close combat, it proved invaluable. The Winchester Model 1873, known as the gun that won the West, is one of the most iconic of the Old West. Developed by the Winchester Repeating Arms Company, the 1873 was a breakthrough in firearms technology, offering a high volume of fire with a reliable repeating mechanism. The Winchester 1873 used the .44 Winchester cartridge, popular due to the compatibility with rifles and revolvers. The tubular magazine under the barrel had a capacity of up to 15 rounds, offering a substantial advantage on the battlefield. Despite the reliability and firing rate, the Winchester 1873 had some drawbacks. The gun needed to be reloaded individually, which took time. The Winchester 1873 stood out for its effectiveness and durability. The gun became essential for frontier settlers, lawmen, and outlaws, setting a standard for later firearms. Its constant presence in Old West stories and iconography solidified it as one of the most influential guns of that era.
The First World War signaled a dramatic shift in how the globe's militaries conducted warfare. Initially expected to be a brief skirmish, it morphed into a savage trench struggle, where gains were counted in meters. and mortally wove itself into soldiers' daily existence. In this relentless and unforgiving landscape, technology took center stage, unveiling pioneering weapons that would chart the course of modern combat. When the United States stepped into the First World War in 1917, it faced a formidable hurdle, swiftly adapting to a ruthless, unfamiliar mode of fighting. With minimal time to gear up, the American forces scrambled to arm their troops with cutting-edge, effective tools to counter their battle-tested European rivals. In this presentation, we'll dive into the most renowned American weapons that appeared on the First World War's front lines, aiding the United States in carving out its place in this nascent age of contemporary warfare. The M1903 Springfield emerged as one of the most legendary and esteemed rifles wielded by the U.S. Army during the First World War. Conceived in the wake of the Spanish-American War, this bolt-action firearm soon became a byword for accuracy, excellence, and dependability among American troops. By the time the U.S. joined the conflict in 1917, the Springfield ranked among the most sophisticated infantry arms of its day. Its standout quality was its superb precision. Firing the formidable .30-06 Springfield round, which blended range with forceful impact, it allowed soldiers to strike foes at distances outpacing many rival rifles. This made it especially valued by snipers and elite squads. The bolt mechanism was sturdy yet straightforward, with a fluid, rapid motion that enabled consistent shooting, even under the duress of trench warfare. On the battlefield, the Springfield excelled primarily with sharpshooters and highly trained soldiers. Its exceptional accuracy pinpointed critical targets like enemy commanders and machine gunners, delivering both a tactical edge and a psychological blow to adversaries. A curious detail: though celebrated as an American creation, the M1903's original design leaned heavily on the German Mauser, even triggering a post-war lawsuit over the parallels. Another intriguing note: its use stretched far beyond the First World War, enduring into the Second, a testament to its remarkable longevity and significance as a military tool. Yet, its intricate, exacting construction slowed mass production, requiring ample time and materials. This bottleneck forced the U.S. Army to turn to the M1917 Enfield, which ultimately became the go-to rifle for its simpler, faster manufacturing process. Even with its constrained output during the war, the M1903 Springfield's reputation endures, cherished today as one of the most precise and trustworthy military rifles ever produced in the United States. The Colt M1911 pistol, a brainchild of the iconic John Moses Browning, stands as one of the most storied and persistent weapons in U.S. military annals. Unveiled in 1911, this semi-automatic handgun was embraced by American forces and saw extensive action in the First World War, distinguishing itself for its potency, reliability, and toughness, quickly earning frontline soldiers' admiration. A key advantage was its robust caliber, the renowned .45 caliber ACP. Chosen for its superior stopping power, a leap beyond the weaker calibers like the .38 used previously, it shone in the trenches' fierce close combat, swiftly neutralizing threats and safeguarding soldiers in high-stakes moments. Another asset was its rugged durability. The M1911 was famed for functioning in harsh settings, enduring mud, filth, dampness, and rough handling without faltering much. Its uncomplicated design also eased cleaning and upkeep in the field, a trait prized by troops short on time and tools amid soggy trenches. Given its considerable weight, some deemed it unwieldy for long treks or drawn-out battles. Moreover, the .45's stout recoil demanded training and finesse, proving tricky for less seasoned soldiers, potentially hampering accuracy and firing pace without proper mastery. In wartime, The Colt M1911 became a badge of distinction among veteran officers and fighters. Though rifles ruled the infantry, the pistol was a vital lifeline, a dependable fallback in clutch situations. Its wartime acclaim and prestige kept it in service for nearly a century, featuring in major clashes like the Second World War, Korea, and Vietnam, showcasing its caliber and resilience across diverse historical eras. The Winchester M1897, commonly known as the M1897, ranked among the most dreaded and potent weapons American soldiers employed in the First World War's trench battles. Distinct from standard rifles, this 12-gauge shotgun was crafted for close-quarters fighting. Upon entering Europe's trench-dominated war zone, its raw destructive force caught immediate attention from both allies and foes, garnering fame and respect, alongside some contention for its ferocity. Its primary strength was its crushing effect at short range. Loaded with buckshot, cartridges packed with multiple large lead spheres, it could devastate several foes with one blast, proving especially lethal in cramped trench pathways. Its pump action enabled rapid, successive shots, greatly bolstering soldiers' offensive might. Troops often fired repeatedly while closing in on enemy posts, unleashing chaos on their opponents. Shorter than most arms, the M1897 was easy to carry and wield in tight spaces where lengthy rifles proved clumsy and impractical. Notably, its deployment stirred international dispute. The German military lodged official objections, claiming the shotgun breached war's codes by being inhumane. They even vowed to execute captured soldiers bearing a Winchester M1897. The U.S. rebuffed this, using it widely, deeming it a critical asset in the war's savage close-range encounters. Still, despite its strengths, the Winchester M1897 had a glaring flaw. Its effectiveness plummeted as distance grew, rendering it useless in mid- or long-range engagements, where rifle-armed enemies held the upper hand. Even so, the Winchester M1897 etched a lasting imprint on military history, earning the German moniker Barbarian Gun for its trench combat prowess. The Browning M1917 machine gun was a standout automatic weapon for the U.S. forces in the First World War, swiftly becoming a hallmark of American military strength in the struggle. Designed by the acclaimed John Moses Browning, it entered service in 1917, tailored to meet trench warfare's grueling demands, providing relentless, devastating firepower to soldiers. Its chief merit was its exceptional sustained fire ability. Driven by a short recoil system and cooled with water, it could shoot continuously for long stretches with minimal overheating. This allowed troops to hold vital positions, thwarting enemy assaults or pinning their advances. The M1917 boasted an impressive firing rate of up to 600 rounds per minute, a true breakthrough in firepower volume for its era. Another key feature was its accuracy and reach. Thanks to the .30-aught Springfield caliber, its potent rounds covered vast distances with precision, amplifying its lethality and battlefield influence. With an effective range surpassing 1,000 meters, it could engage and neutralize foes well before they posed a threat to Allied lines. Yet it wasn't without drawbacks. The M1917 was notably heavy and immobile, tipping the scales at over 40 kilograms with its tripod and water reservoir. This made it tough to shift quickly, rendering it less suited for rapid offensive moves. It thrived as a defensive tool, securing fixed spots, but posed challenges in fast-paced attacks, needing specialized crews for transport and use. Though developed late, the M1917 proved indispensable to American forces, mass-produced even beyond the war's end. It saw action well into the Second World War and Korea, a clear sign of its effectiveness, durability, and deadly power. The Colt M1917 revolver was a crucial and widely used sidearm for American soldiers in the First World War, offering a practical fix to a pressing issue: a shortage of Colt M1911 pistols to equip the rapidly mobilized troops after the U.S. entered in 1917. Though less iconic than its semi-automatic sibling, the M1917 revolver was vital in arming soldiers, owing to its ease, sturdiness, and reliability. Made by Colt, the M1917 arose from the Army's urgent call for handguns using the standard .45 caliber APC round, already standard with the M1911. Colt retooled its civilian new service revolver to military specs, producing a revolver that fired the same .45 caliber APC ammo as the pistol. However, due to the revolver's classic design, this ammo required special half-moon clips, small metal holders for quick cartridge ejection after firing. It quickly won soldiers' favor for its simple handling and tough build. Compared to the M1911, which needed more skill to operate and maintain, the M1917 was basic and approachable, perfect for green troops or scenarios where upkeep was limited. Its reload process was somewhat sluggish, needing manual barrel work and clip handling, a potential drawback in fierce combat. A neat historical note: Colt and Smith & Wesson both produced it, yielding over 300,000 units combined. Both versions carried the M1917 label, despite slight differences in style and mechanics. After the war, the Colt M1917 gained recognition among historians and collectors as a prized artifact, embodying America's swift response to the dire needs of a catastrophic modern conflict. The M1917 Enfield rifle became the U.S. infantry's backbone during the First World War. Though the U.S. initially aimed to rely on the Springfield M1903 as its main rifle, its late 1917 entry revealed production couldn't meet the vast demand. To address this, they adapted Britain's pattern 1914 design, creating the M1917, manufactured in the U.S. with tweaks for the American .30-aught Springfield caliber. The M1917 Enfield was a no-frills, durable, and highly reliable bolt-action rifle. Produced by Winchester, Remington, and Eddystone, its ease and speed of mass production spurred quick adoption. In just over a year, around 2 million were made, equipping most troops sent to Europe and eclipsing the Springfield M1903 in numbers and wartime weight. Its bolt withstood trench grime, mud, and wet, ensuring soldiers could count on it in nearly any condition. Plus, its caliber delivered excellent range, precision, and stopping power, effectively striking targets beyond 800 meters, ranking it among the era's finest rifles. Yet it had its flaws. Weighing about 4 kilograms and stretching roughly 1.17 meters, it was cumbersome and tricky in tight trenches or intense close combat. Initially met with skepticism by soldiers favoring the Springfield, the Enfield soon earned respect for its efficiency and toughness. Veterans often came to prefer its simple maintenance and usability. The M1917 Enfield proved a linchpin in American troops' wartime success, securing a lasting reputation as one of the U.S.'s most reliable and potent rifles. The M1905 bayonet was a vital piece of kit for U.S. soldiers in the First World War. Designed for the M1903 Springfield rifle, it became an emblem of trench warfare's brutal close encounters. In a war ruled by machine guns and grenades, the bayonet retained a critical role when fighting turned hand-to-hand. Its most striking attribute was its size. With a 40.5 centimeter blade, it was imposing and effective in melee. Fixed to the rifle, it gave soldiers ample reach. The blade was sturdy, built to take hard hits and thrusts. But its length doubled as a weakness. In cramped trenches, it slowed quick maneuvers and risked snagging, hampering mobility. Another downside was psychological, Though effective, close combat with it strained soldiers' minds and spirits. Though tailored for the Springfield, it was broadly used with the M1917 Enfield, with minor tweaks. This compatibility with both rifles eased logistics, ensuring all soldiers had a trusty close combat option, regardless of their rifle. Bayonet use in the war dropped sharply from earlier conflicts, dwarfed by new weapons' deadliness. Still, its mental and symbolic heft persisted, with soldiers often noting the added security it lent, particularly in night raids or trench assaults.
The M1 Garand rifle is an iconic weapon that performed a significant role in United States military history. Initially developed by Canadian-American engineer John C. Garand, the M1 Garand was officially adopted as the primary infantry rifle of the United States Armed Forces in 1936. The M1 Garand is known for its semi-automatic system design, allowing soldiers to shoot faster and more efficiently compared to the bolt-action rifles common at the time. The rifle employed an en-bloc clip to hold and feed its shells. Holding 8 cartridges, the en-bloc clip was directly inserted into the rifle's magazine, expediting the reloading process and making the weapon more efficient in combat. As soon as all the cartridges were fired, the empty clip was automatically ejected, allowing the quick insertion of a new clip. The M1A1 is one of the Thompson submachine gun's many versions. First introduced in 1942, the M1A1 was a scaled-down and less expensive version of the M1928 model that was a gangster favorite, already in use prior to the United States entry into World War II on a lesser extent. The Thompson M1A1 was a popular weapon among infantry soldiers, paratroopers, and special forces. The Tommy was a .45 caliber automatic firearm, fed by a detachable 30-round magazine. The submachine gun was an assault weapon by design. It had an impressive performance in urban battles and for clearing trenches. Its good firing rate also provided good suppressive fire support. This is why the Thompson machine gun was extremely reliable, and why it became one of the favorite weapons of American soldiers. Its versatility and power made it one of World War II's most iconic weapons. The Kabar is an iconic combat knife that rose to fame during World War II. Before the Kabar was developed, the United States military used several different combat knives, many of which had issues in durability and performance in combat situations. The knife was engineered to be more durable and versatile than its predecessors, featuring a 17.8 cm carbon steel blade and a leather handle. The blade had a strengthened tip and partially serrated edge for improved cutting and piercing. The knife was often used to break open ration cans, cut ropes, and carry out other menial tasks on the battlefield. The Kabar, however, was also an effective weapon for hand-to-hand combat and self-defense, particularly in situations where firearms were not convenient or available. The M1 carbine is a lightweight semi-automatic weapon designed and developed in the United States during the 1930s and used extensively during World War II. Engineered by David Marshall Williams, the M1 carbine appeared as a more compact and easier to handle alternative to the standard combat rifles of the time. The necessity for a smaller, more versatile weapon came from the urge to improve the troops' mobility and responsiveness in a range of several types of combat. The M1 was able to fire in semi-automatic mode, allowing for a faster firing cadence compared to bolt-action weapons. It was specifically suited for officers, gunners, communicators, and other military personnel who required a smaller, easier-to-carry firearm. U.S. paratroopers treasured the M1 due to its compact size, making it easier to jump and carry on the field. The Mark II grenade, also known as the Pineapple, was a fragmentation grenade extensively used by the United States Armed Forces during World War II. The Mark II grenade was a defensive fragmentation grenade, projected to inflict enemy casualties by delivering metal fragments at high velocity after detonation. The Mark II was activated by means of a fuse and detonator system. The soldier would pull the safety pin and let go of the lever, triggering the detonation process. Once the lever was freed, a short pyrotechnic delay of approximately 4 to 5 seconds enabled the soldier to throw the grenade a safe distance before the explosion. The grenade was used in a broad variety of combat situations, such as attacks on fortified enemy positions, urban warfare, clearing enemies from trenches and buildings, and positional defense. The Bazooka, officially known as the M1 anti-tank rocket launcher, was a portable anti-tank weapon and came into service with the US Army in 1942. It had a substantial impact on the battlefield, supplying soldiers with a portable and effective attack power against enemy armored vehicles. 2 soldier squads often deployed the Bazooka, a rifleman and an assistant who carried additional ammunition and helped reload the weapon. The Bazooka had a 60mm caliber and employed a rocket with a hollow charge warhead shaped to penetrate enemy vehicle armor. The hollow charge permitted the rocket to gather the blast energy at a single point, increasing its penetration capability. Boasting an effective range of 150 meters, the weapon proved most effective against most enemy armored vehicles of the time, such as tanks, armored cars, and bunkers. The Browning automatic rifle, known as the BAR, was an automatic firearm developed by renowned American inventor John Browning in late World War I and adopted by the United States Army in 1918. The BAR was an air-cooled automatic rifle fed by a detachable magazine with a 20-round capacity. The weapon used a .30-06 Springfield caliber. The gun had an adjustable bipod, enabling the gunner to lean it on the ground to increase stability and accuracy during automatic firing. The weapon was prized for its reliability and worked well in harsh conditions. Its maintenance was low. Its firepower and ability to maintain a sustained volume of fire on the battlefield were praised. And, even though the BAR was quite heavy and expensive to manufacture, it became a key weapon for infantry support. The M2 flamethrower served an instrumental role in several American campaigns during the Second World War. This incendiary weapon was mainly used to attack enemy fortified positions, such as bunkers, trenches, and underground fortifications. The M2 flamethrower comprised 2 cylindrical tanks assembled on the operator's back, connected to a hose and a launch hose. The tanks filled with a mixture of thickened gasoline, known as napalm, and pressurized propellant gas, such as nitrogen. The operator would hold the launch canister and pull a trigger to release the incendiary compound, ignited by a pilot light at the end of the tube. Serving as a flamethrower operator was one of World War II's most dangerous roles, as he was vulnerable to enemy attacks that could lead to exploding fuel tanks. The weapon also had an effective range limited to between 20 and 40 meters, and it required the handler to get dangerously close to enemy positions to be effective. The Browning M1919 was an air-cooled, bolt-operated mid-machine gun that featured a .30 caliber bullet. The weapon was versatile and could be mounted on tripods, vehicles, and aircraft, and was used extensively on various battlefronts. The M19's firing rate ranged from 400 to 600 rounds per minute, according to the specific model, and was powered by an ammunition belt, making for rapid and continuous firing. Despite being light compared to other models, the M1919 required the use of a tripod or steady mount to guarantee stability and accuracy while firing. The weapon was used extensively to provide suppressive fire, aiding in keeping the enemy pinned down and enabling troops to advance. Owing to its efficiency, the machine gun was also used in the Korean War and even the beginning of the Vietnam War, after which it was replaced. The M1911 Colt pistol was the United States Armed Forces' primary service pistol, escorting soldiers in conflicts around the world, including World War I, World War II, the Korean War, and the Vietnam War. Its reliability, usability, and powerful .45 caliber made it a popular and well-respected weapon by military and civilians alike. Many soldiers trusted the M1911 as a secondary weapon for close-range combat, or as a last resort in critical situations. The M1911's straightforward design and serviceability also made it a popular choice among field troops, who frequently faced extreme conditions and hostile environments.
From 1955 to 1975, the Vietnam War proved to be one of the 20th century's most intense and challenging clashes, bringing the U.S. Armed Forces against the North Vietnamese Army and its Viet Cong allies. This unique confrontation featured an unforgiving combat landscape with dense jungles, mountainous terrain, and severe weather conditions, testing the American troops' endurance and adaptability. On top of the environmental challenges, the guerrilla warfare forced upon them by the Vietnamese required novel tactics and strategies, rendering each confrontation unpredictable and deadly. To deal with these challenges, the United States had to develop and improve high-quality military equipment. The weapons and tools employed by American troops had to be not only lethal but reliable and adaptable to the battlefield's harsh conditions. Everything from automatic rifles and machine guns right through to grenade launchers and anti-personnel mines. Every item in the arsenal served a vital role in the quest for tactical advantage. Developed by Armalite and later produced by Colt, the M16 rifle is one of the Vietnam War's most distinctive weapons. Introduced in the early 1960s, the M16 was conceived to supersede the heavier and less efficient M14. Equipped with a 5.56mm caliber, the M16 delivered a high rate of fire and was considerably lighter, making it optimal for Vietnam's dense jungles. Its automatic and semi-automatic fire ability gave American soldiers a substantial tactical advantage in combat. Notwithstanding its notable qualities, the M16 proved not to be problem-free. During the initial stages of its rollout, the weapon struggled with reliability issues. These failures resulted in several combat deaths, sparking a trust issue among American troops. Improvements were made over time, including design modifications and better maintenance procedures, which significantly reduced failures and improved the M16's reliability. The M16 was initially shipped without cleaning kits, under the false premise that it was self-cleaning. It led to severe malfunctions, especially in Vietnam's harsh conditions. Once the U.S. Congress stepped in and troops lobbied, cleaning kits were finally distributed, and proper maintenance training was widely promoted. The M16 remains an iconic Vietnam War symbol today and an example of how innovation and adaptation fundamentally change a military tool. A grenade launcher fondly nicknamed Thumper or Blooper by American soldiers, the M79 was first introduced in the 1960s as an effective solution for providing portable, explosive firepower. The M79 is a single-shot weapon, firing 40mm grenades, delivering a combination of accuracy and destructive power. Boasting an effective range of up to 350 meters, the M79 let soldiers engage targets at distances outside the reach of hand grenades, offering a significant tactical advantage in many combat situations. One of the M79's principal assets was its simplicity and user-friendly design. The weapon was light, about 2.72 kilograms, and its braking mechanism meant it could be reloaded quickly and efficiently. This translated into outstanding reliability, even in the harsh conditions of the Vietnamese jungles. The M79 could be loaded with different types of grenades, including explosive, fire, smoke, and tear gas grenades, making it a versatile tool for soldiers in the field. The M79 quickly became a reliable and effective weapon, filling a crucial role in the U.S. infantry's support arsenal during the Vietnam War. First introduced in the late 1950s, the M14 rifle was originally conceived to replace the venerable M1 Garand, used during World War II and the Korean War. Powered by 7.62mm NATO ammunition, the M14 was a versatile weapon, firing in semi-automatic and automatic modes. Its accuracy and range of up to 500 meters meant it was suited to combat at medium to long distances, representing a significant advantage on more open and less densely forested battlefields. But the Vietnam War posed unique challenges that exposed the M14's shortcomings. The rifle was heavy, weighing around 5.1 kilograms without ammo, hampering handling and carrying in densely forested and swampy land. Additionally, the M14's powerful recoil led to difficult control during automatic fire, lessening its effectiveness in close and fast combat. Combined with the call for a lighter, more maneuverable weapon, these downsides led to the adoption of the M16 as the standard rifle for American troops. The M72 Law is a disposable anti-tank weapon intended to provide infantrymen with an effective tool for destroying armored vehicles and enemy strongholds. Launched in the 1960s, the M72 Law soon became an essential tool for American troops during the Vietnam War. Compact and light, weighing around 2.5 kilograms, the M72 Law was easily carried and manned by a single soldier, providing rapid engagement of targets in combat. A major asset of the M72 Law was its simplicity. It consists of a telescopic tube that is extended before firing, followed by a shooting mechanism once it has been fully lengthened. The 66mm rocket-propelled grenade is highly effective against light armor and forts, with an effective range of up to 200 meters. The weapon's single-use nature means that, after firing, the empty tube is dropped, cutting out the need for reloading or battlefield maintenance. Notwithstanding its advantages, the M72 Law has some limitations. Its effectiveness is reduced against heavier armor and strongly fortified targets. The M72 Law's firing also results in a significant backblast, revealing the operator's location and causing danger to any person or object behind the weapon during firing. It took inspiration from earlier designs, such as the World War II Bazooka and the Soviet RPG-2, but broke new ground by being lighter and more robust. The M72 Law has undergone several improvements over the years and is still used in different variations by the armed forces of several countries, proving its effectiveness and adaptability in modern combat scenarios. Known commonly as the grease gun due to its resemblance, the M3 submachine gun was launched in 1943 during the Second World War and went on to be used by the American forces during the Vietnam War. Engineered to be a low-cost, easy-to-produce weapon, the M3 was made primarily from stamped steel, making it economical and quick to manufacture. It used .45 ACP ammunition, offering significant impact at short distances, perfect for hand-to-hand combat. The M3 grease gun's key features were its simplicity and robustness. Weighing around 3.7 kilograms, the M3 was light and compact, making it easy to handle in combat. Its comparatively low rate of fire, around 450 rounds per minute, meant it could control recoil and retain accuracy during sustained firing. The design's simplicity also meant that the weapon was easily maintained and repaired in the field, an important boon in the unforgiving conditions of the Vietnamese jungle. But the M3 grease gun had its backdraws. Its accuracy was only good over short distances, and the plain design, albeit robust, offered neither the same comfort nor state-of-the-art features as some modern weapons of the time. On top of that, the 30-round magazine could be relatively slow to reload compared to other submachine guns. The weapon was intended to replace the Thompson submachine gun, making it much cheaper and quicker to produce. The M3 lived on in American forces until the mid-1990s, mostly due to its endurance and effectiveness in close-range combat, maintaining its legacy as a reliable and iconic weapon. Originally derived from the M14 sniper rifle, the M21 was developed to meet the specific needs of snipers during the Vietnam War. Introduced in 1969, the M21 was outfitted with a telescopic sight that allowed snipers to engage targets at ranges of up to 900 meters with high accuracy. Using 7.62mm NATO ammunition, the M21 brought together the M14's range and power with upgrades that significantly increased its accuracy and combat effectiveness. One of the M21's chief qualities was its lethal precision. The rifle was painstakingly chosen and modified from the best examples of the M14, focusing on ensuring optimum accuracy. With the addition of an adjustable telescopic sight and a bipod, the rifle's stability during firing was maximized, allowing shooters to hit targets with great precision at long distances. Such features made the M21 a crucial tool for reconnaissance missions and the clearing of high-value targets, where precision was crucial. The rifle's weight, around 5.3 kilograms minus the scope, made it relatively heavy for rapid maneuvering on uneven terrain. As an M14 spin-off, the M21 also kept some of the recoil and maintenance issues associated with the original. Interestingly, the M21 was one of the first sniper rifles to be fitted with advanced telescopic sights in a modern war, setting the standard for future developments in marksman weapons. The M21's legacy remains highly respected, serving as the foundation upon which later U.S. military precision weapons systems were modeled. Originally introduced in 1950, the Remington 870 shotgun proved to be a popular choice among the U.S. Armed Forces during the Vietnam War due to its strength, reliability, and effectiveness in short-range combat. Mostly used for trench clearing operations and urban warfare, the Remington 870 delivered significant power from its 12-gauge cartridge, effectively neutralizing targets at short distances. The Remington 870's main qualities are its simplicity and durability. The pump-action mechanism is known for its dependability, even in the harsh circumstances of the Vietnamese jungles. The gun is also easy to dismount and clean, a crucial feature for in-field maintenance. The Remington 870 also holds up to 8 cartridges, allowing soldiers to sustain a high rate of fire without having to reload frequently, a significant plus in intense combat situations. But the Remington 870 also has some weaknesses. Its effective range is rather limited, restricting its effectiveness to close-range combat. The need to pump the action manually after each shot also impairs the firing rate compared to semi-automatic rifles. The Remington 870's longevity and ongoing popularity is an interesting oddity. The weapon is still widely used by police, military, and civilian forces worldwide due to its proven reliability and versatile design, leading it to become one of the most successful rifles of all time. The M18 Claymore mine is a guided anti-personnel mine used extensively during the Vietnam War for perimeter defense and ambushes. It was introduced in 1960 and is distinguished by its rectangular shape and the inscription "Front Toward Enemy." Outfitted with approximately 700 steel balls embedded in C4 explosive plastic, the Claymore delivers a lethal volley of fragments when detonated, covering a 60-degree arc with an effective range of around 50 meters. A major attribute of the M18 Claymore is its ability to be remotely controlled, allowing soldiers to detonate the mine from a distance via a command wire. That offers a significant tactical advantage, enabling booby traps and ambushes to be laid without exposing troops to direct risk. The Claymore may also be adjusted for tripwire detonation, increasing its versatility in different combat environments. Installing and assembling the mine requires time and effort. Additionally, the need for a tripwire restricts the operating distance and can be compromised if the wire is detected or cut by the enemy. Its effectiveness and innovative design have made the M18 Claymore an essential tool in the military arsenal, known for its lethality and ability to alter the outcome of combat. Developed by the United States in the 1950s, the M26 cluster grenade became a critical instrument for American troops during the Vietnam War. The M26 was aimed at optimizing the spread of lethal metal fragments when detonated, causing considerable damage to enemy troops within a radius of up to 15 meters. Its spherical shape and built-in fragmentation collar added to the grenade's lethal efficiency and reliability. One of the M26's major features is its simplicity and straightforward use. Weighing around 450 grams, the grenade is light and convenient to carry, allowing soldiers to lug several units into combat. The safety mechanism is strong, minimizing the risk of accidental detonation. A fuse delay, often 4 to 5 seconds, gives the soldier enough time to hurl the grenade towards the target before detonation, rendering it effective in all sorts of tactical scenarios, from offensive to defensive attacks. The grenade required soldiers to get extremely close to the enemy to throw it effectively. In intense combat circumstances, the delay fuse could malfunction, potentially resulting in a late or premature explosion. Its presence in numerous conflicts around the world and its role in combat tactics are still highly praised and appreciated today. The M203 grenade launcher was introduced in the late 1960s to provide a more reliable and effective infantry fire support solution. It was meant to be attached under the M16 rifle barrel and later the M4, allowing soldiers to fire 40mm grenades without having to carry a separate weapon. This design translated explosive firepower directly into the soldier's main weaponry, granting them a significant battlefield tactical advantage. One of the M203's major qualities is its reliability and usability. The grenade launcher uses a simple sliding loading and unloading mechanism, allowing for quick and efficient reloading in combat. The M203 is capable of firing multiple grenades, including explosive, smoke, light, and tear gas grenades, making it extremely versatile in a wide spectrum of tactical situations. Boasting an effective range of up to 400 meters, the M203 allows soldiers to engage protected targets and suppress enemy positions with precision and effectiveness. The M203 also has some shortcomings. The additional weight of the launcher and grenades can overwhelm the soldier, particularly during long patrols or rough terrain ops. Likewise, the M203 requires specific training to allow soldiers to operate the weapon effectively and safely. Its combat-proven durability and effectiveness have made the M203 a popular and reliable choice, establishing its place as an essential item in the modern infantry arsenal. First introduced in 1957, the M60 machine gun became a vital part of the American arsenal during the Vietnam War. Commonly known as the Pig due to its weight and robust profile, the M60 was intended to provide effective continuous fire support. Firing 7.62mm NATO ammunition, the M60 could shoot at a rate of 500 to 650 rounds per minute, providing a terrific tool for suppressing enemy fire and supporting infantry breakthroughs. Its flexibility allowed it to be used both in mobile and fixed operations, either mounted on tripods or in vehicles. Notwithstanding its stunning capabilities, the M60 was not without its flaws. Weighing around 10.5 kilograms without ammunition made it difficult to handle and transport in dense, rugged terrain, such as the Vietnamese jungles. And the M60 was plagued by reliability concerns, especially with the ammunition feed system, which was prone to jamming under unfavorable conditions. The M60's design is heavily influenced by the World War II-era German MG-42 machine gun. Features such as the belt-fed system and the quick-change barrel mechanisms were added to the M60, a blend of American engineering and German novelties. Also, the M60 took center stage not only in combat but also in pop culture, appearing in countless films and TV shows about the Vietnam War, reinforcing its reputation as one of the conflict's most iconic weapons.